Peace and blessings, everyone. It's your boy L.R. Cohen, and welcome back to the Lone Ranger Podcast. We're on season 2 here, and we're excited to get started. As usual, we like to say thank you to everyone that's still supporting our platforms here on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And if you're not following, you need to follow us at the Lone Ranger 08 on TikTok and Instagram, and also the Lone Ranger Podcast on YouTube, and just look for our symbol. And when you click on the YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red box at the bottom right hand corner, and we love your support because most of the information you're going to get is on the YouTube channel, as the snippets on our other platforms here are limited. So thank you for joining, and let's go ahead and get started. Today's episode is a 2-part series. The first part is going to be discussing the first 5 recommendations for a first-time home buyer. With rates going down, this is going to be a good time for you to start looking into home purchasing. And, I just want to make sure that you guys have a smoother process than others, because there's some do's and don'ts that you want to make sure you take note of. So to go ahead and give you an overview of the particular recommendations, it's basically to acknowledge that everyone has their own journey when it comes to the home buyer process, okay? It's going to be very important for you guys to understand that it's going to be a timely process. It's not going to be overnight. But if you understand the process and if you use some of these recommendations, the process could run a lot smoother here for you. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first recommendation is to create a plan to purchase and then start right away. Now, what that means is your process to purchase the loan could take some time. Again, you're going to have to be patient. It can take up to 1 to maybe 2 years, or even more. It just depends. But during this process, if you create your needs and your wants as far as what you would like to have in your home, and look for homes that have about 80% of those things, that will help, I would say, ease the analysis paralysis when you're searching for homes. Okay, so you want to create a list. Okay, create about 5 to 10 wants that you want on the home, another 5 to 10 needs that you want on the home, like your commute to work, or the type of neighborhood you want to live in, or do you want natural lighting in the house, or a garage. These are needs and wants. So evaluate those, and when you start the actual search for the homes, if you can get about 80% of those things, it's a good buy. Now, as far as creating a financial plan here, the second recommendation is going to be to get pre-approved. Okay, what that means is you want to speak to a bank or a credit union, and you want to determine how much can you afford. Getting a pre-approval is going to let you know how much house you can buy, basically. Meaning, if you get pre-approved for a $250,000 mortgage, then that's the price range that you're going to be in. Okay. Now, to make sure that you're not going over budget, you don't have to go up to the whole 250,000. You can go up to 200 or 225 or whatever the approval is. That way you can make sure that you're not over exerting yourself on the budget itself as far as your mortgage payment. So get pre-approved is the second recommendation. As a note here, you want to make sure when you're determining your mortgage payment after pre-approval, you want to make sure that you're including your taxes and your insurance, which is your escrows. The reason why I say that is because you get a quote for a mortgage and it's just the principal and interest, and let's say it's $900 and your budget is $1,000, and you say, okay, I'm in the money. But then you get taxes and insurance, and it's another $400 on top of that, and now you have a $1,300 mortgage rather than $1,000, $300 over budget. So always make sure you get pre-approved, and make sure you include your taxes and insurance in that mortgage payment so you're not over budget. The third recommendation here is going to be start a savings account for your purchase. Now, depending on the purchase price of the home or the loan type that you get, you may need anywhere between $10,000 to $20,000 for your purchase. That's going to go towards your down payment, your closing costs, any inspections, earnest money, things like that. So you want to make sure that you don't touch that money. And the best way to do that is to create a separate savings account with no access to it unless you go into the bank to withdraw it. So no checking account with a debit card, no savings account with an ATM, just a regular old savings account that you can't touch unless you go into the bank, and that will keep you from being tempted to spend it. And just like set a budget, how much money you want to put away towards the savings each month, and determine the time frame when you like to purchase, and kind of make your plans from there. Now, the fourth recommendation is going to be to do not make any major purchases before or during the transaction. And the reason why is because that can affect your approval on the loan. And basically, if you add on additional debt, or if you have collections, or credit cards that are maxed out, that can hurt your approval. So maintain good credit by making sure you keep your debts low and or paid off. If you have any collections, make sure you take care of those. And again, try not to make no major purchases if you can. Now, the fifth recommendation here, and this is going to be know your loan types and also your first time homebuyer programs. What that means here is, Rangers, is that there's several types of loans out there. The three major ones are conventional, FHA, and VA. And if you don't know the differences between them, it could cost you money in closing costs, or it could cost you money in your monthly payment or interest rate. You just never know. So with conventional loans, that's normally the favorite because there's not a lot of risk involved with those. However, it does require for you to have a higher down payment. Most of them take 20% down. So if you have a $100,000 mortgage, you got to put $20,000 down. And they also require higher FICO scores. Most people with like a 550 or a 560 might not get a conventional. Well, they won't. But but if you can qualify for a conventional loan, it might be your cheapest over spending wise as far as closing costs are concerned. Now, FHA products, they're a little bit more favorable for people whose scores aren't that good. They only require a 3% down payment. And, I've done purchases, I've seen purchases rather, go into the 550 FICO score range. So they're a little bit more lenient, but the closing costs might be a little bit more. They have mortgage insurance that they assess, which is a one-time fee that they add into the mortgage. And then they also tack on an extra $100 or $200 insurance premium on top of your taxes and insurance, making your mortgage payment even higher. So just be careful with that. Lastly, with VA, there's no closing costs most of the time out of pocket. They're all rolled into the loan. A lot of them, in some cases, don't have any down payment requirements outside of earnest money. So if you're a vet, purchasing, you just bring your ID and a pen and you're good to go, really, in most cases. But for anyone, I always suggest to have at least $5,000 to $7,000. But you want to save more than that. You want to have more than enough, because it can set you up, for a problem if you're not too careful. But where we go from here, after you get pre-approved, your credit is good, you got the loan type that you want, where do you go from here? Well, that's where we're going to pick up in our next episode, where we cover the next 5 tips, which is actually dealing with the home itself. And we're going to have a lot of fun with that. But make sure that you are tuning in. Again, click on the red button on the bottom right-hand corner when you type in the Lone Ranger Podcast on YouTube, and subscribe to our channel so you can get all the information. And also follow us on TikTok and Instagram at the Lone Ranger 08. If you have any questions, feel free to DM us or comment on the show itself. We'll be doing some Q&As as well throughout the season. But I hope this was helpful. If you guys have any questions, again, I'll be here for you. It's your boy LR Cohen signing out. Peace and blessings.